Hello there, and welcome to the Dragon Age Season 3 main cast, a reaction to the one-shot session that was done a couple of days ago. We got all the main cast players here right now, including also Hark, who's currently busy. And we're just going to talk
like
about
a child to keep care of or something.
Something like that. We're going to talk about the one-shot that has been recorded and has been premiered and that we all saw, hopefully. And we're just going to discuss about it. We're going to discuss about some of the stuff we saw, some of the things that we liked, and anything else that is in between, stuff like that. So yeah.
Knight Commander
He's describing me.
Azim says,
"Oh no,
they're ready for you."
Thank you. I gotta see Sim's face for this.
And I don't want to speak for Leon, okay. But Leon is. I think he's always been like a very lovely, like energetic. It's like, hi, it's nice to meet you. I'm really, really excited to see this ceremony. I've never gotten to see a ceremony quite like a night vigilance ceremony at all. Great feeling. Did I mention that? A thumbs up.
The thumbs up, you know.
Oh, like, is this seem accurate? Wait. So.
Yeah, the thumbs up.
If Sam's watching, I hope I was able to. The other Sam, male Sam's watching. I hope I was able to capture the essence of Leon.
So it was a very short scene, and it was done perfectly by Hark. Very bubbly.
You heard it.
Yeah, just
the picture pan just going like, and he's just going like, "You like me, sir?" Like,
very easily.
That's impressive. If Maximilian in his 50s can outrun his like 18-year-old kid.
What do you expect though? It's Max.
Yeah.
Nathan's actually just morbidly obese and no one mentions it.
That's why his portrait's only the face.
Metal against metal.
Much goes on the side, maybe doesn't bring up into the right guard.
Point when I guess you'll be
How
able to
intense do you think it would be to be Maximilian's kid?
Oh, Jesus Christ, I don't even want to imagine it.
I don't know if you say anything or react
like,
when that
talk
happens.
about pressure.
Don't be sorry.
Be better. Look what I did.
Nathan's like the perfect in the middle of Jody and Max.
Yeah! Yeah!
He really is. No place for theatrics. No.
Meanwhile, Jody's over here going...
I'll give him back.
If I...
Yes, you're a failure.
Manifested mage power.
You're your own man.
if you become mage, I'll turn you a chankle.
Wonderful mother, who is a mage. And I know if you
I will petition the divine to make sure Cedric never bans the right, and you'll do it.
Follow the law. Head to the circle. I can't expect everyone to follow.
I heard about this guy in Navarra who's using a giant hammer. Do that and I'll disown you.
I wonder who that guy could be.
Yeah, no, I have no clue.
Following in my footsteps.
You see, if you ever wake up with this tingling feeling, it's something that all men
Just outrun it, it'll be fine.
Now you're the king.
Just make sure to talk to who said it? It was Theobin? Who said it?
I think so.
He brings out like dusty old diagrams, blows off, a big poof comes up.
Hey, I mean, he's got the pad in Ferelden now.
You're your own. Found me.
You're also a time-traveling adventurer, but that's on the wayside.
That killed his like past future self.
And in that past, he was gonna like prevent the fifth blight.
You will hear somebody.
Now, is this who we're gonna get as our extra NPC?
Probably gonna be Cogs.
Probably gonna be Cogs. Yeah.
You got the second most amount of votes right after Hugh.
Warm smile.
Mm.
And it says.
Not the Arakune.
So most people know about the Arashok. The Arashok ships.
Totally not terrifying things.
Everybody wins.
The best trade.
Yes.
Look, it's just water, air, and guns. All essentials.
who is the
Those are totally things that won't erupt into into like a World War I situation at all.
as it would imply. And
You know, out of fun,
elf.
I wanted.
Ooh.
Hey!
I was
It is
waiting for
Celine!
it.
Posh would have been just like, you know what? Fuck my story. Fuck Dandelion. I'm gonna be the Arcune.
When he sees you, he will give you a respect.
It could have been you here, Pasha. It could have been you.
I know.
King Sunwith.
I mean, Pasha has a new job. That's hook everyone who hasn't been hooked up.
Indeed, he says. I assure you, I will not be taking
Hook
too
all
much
on.
I am
Relationship.
merely
Shipper of the
here
void.
out of
The ultimate power Drupal.
I mean, put it this way. Good luck for me.
And I thought that out of respect,
I will
since we were
try.
in the area
Good
anyway,
luck.
I wanted to personally come. I don't
Ah, there we go.
anyone that you have
There we
come
go.
by
Yeah.
that name.
I always loved Pasha's
Why you
theme.
seek this person?
Yeah.
Get luck powder is about.
Wait.
More weapons, please.
I believe
Max
that
is just like a
shipment
kid going,
is,
I want the
if I
toys, I want the
remember,
toys, I want the toys,
from
I want the
my
toys.
The
previous
powder.
conversations
Give it
with
to me.
the other
He
guy.
wants that
I
Gatlock
believe
shield.
The next shipment is a bit delayed.
And that's why they're looking. Ooh.
Fetch the
Oh, God.
spy master
That would make him a
and,
complete traitor of the queue at that
tell
point.
him about this dandelion. But if you find him or it, talk to me first.
Call my boy an it. How dare you?
But there he. What?
I just love Kimberly's.
So I think, to be fair, I'll make sure that the blights never happen again. So, we believe we have found the location of the final two
Oh no.
archdemons,
Oh.
where they're
Oh.
sleeping.
Oh.
The problem is, getting to them to destroy them, because in theory, if you destroy both of the remaining archdemons, you destroy future blights. Getting to them has been a long, arduous, dangerous prospect.
Sign me the fuck up!
I believe that we managed to finally find the chamber of one of the sleeping archdemons.
It's
Where
gonna
is it?
go
Where
so
is it?
badly.
Where
So
is
we can
it?
slay
Where is
them.
it? Where is it?
But
But
Who's-
Where
the
is
last we heard from the diggers, the miners who were helping us dig,
Oh.
something went wrong,
Shit.
and we lost
Oh
contact.
no.
And
6 blight
Romeo
incoming.
wanted me to find people
More like
who were
6th
willing
and
to
7th
help
if
me
they found
find out
both.
Oh,
what
yeah.
happened.
Oh.
Simple mission, right? Connor says.
No, not in this
Wait, were we the?
I'm not sure what that means.
As in, like,
I hope one of the archdemons is near Hormac.
What exactly?
Which
do
is
you want
into
us to do?
Vinternights,
We can't
and is really
exactly
cool.
just waltz in there and slay an archdemon.
Still gotta buy that book.
we're not Grey Wardens. We're not like.
That's
Guys.
good point.
Yeah.
That's
Bits
why
of this
we do
one
have,
shot is them going
we
after
have
the archdemon.
enlisted the help of
Yeah.
the Grey Warden to come with.
Okay.
Darthan's gonna be so
So
pissed.
you want us to go down,
If they do it, he's gonna be so pissed.
protect the Grey Warden?
God damn it,
long
my
enough to
storyline!
I heard.
My card learned.
My vengeance, what do I do
Deliver the final
now?
blow to the archdemon.
Not quite decade, but for the last.
I bet they'll
several
explore a
years,
little bit, and then
they
it'll
have
cut to
been
something
digging
else.
It'll cut like right
nails,
before they get to the
putting
archdemon.
a lot of resources into digging to try to find where one of
I would
the
just say he's gonna cut a lot of
remaining
stuff in
two
one shot,
archdemons
so-
are.
Yeah.
I think.
I bet there's a
And you are
part
met
5 that's
with
gonna do all
the
the.
Grey Warden,
Part 5 or 6 maybe.
relatively young
Oh,
looking
this
Grey
guy.
Warden.
Isn't that one of our NPCs?
He will
Mhm.
greet you
Yeah, it's
all.
like one of the
and
NPCs
he
from-
will say,
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna find him like bloodied and
Greetings,
beaten,
Penta'Viv
crawling out of the
Guardians.
deep roads, and he's
Allow
gonna be
me to
like,
introduce
the
myself.
archdemons are awake.
My name is Grey Warden. My services will not
It's kind
be
of worrisome that they only got one
necessary,
warden.
but if the time does come,
I have a curious question. Can a Darkspawn kill the
Alright,
Archdemon,
that's
like
good.
an awakened one? That'd be interesting.
We
We
theory.
don't know.
What happens
Yeah,
if
true.
something?
I feel like it'd be the
happens
same
to
rules
you
as if,
while we're
if
down
a
there?
non-warden kills the archdemon,
I mean, we
the
don't have a
soul
backup.
just hops
Yeah.
to a new body.
Hell, it probably would
For
hop to
you
that
to
awakened. So
turn back
Yeah.
around
Yeah, probably.
and
But
I
also
didn't.
Good with that. Okay.
that'd be Dareth, and we'd just be like,
Run away.
"Ah, shit."
Troublesome, disturbing thing about these Darkspawn is these are Darkspawn unlike anything
Hormac.
you have ever seen before. They are twisted in shape, and they seem to have body parts that you just have never been accustomed
Scorpion
to.
tail. Scorpion tail. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
One specific Darkspawn seems
I need to read the
have
book then.
sprouted bat-like wings. Another one seems to have formed, you can see his maw. It's like a very insectoid looking like head with a very like long, sharp, razor sharp snout like thing, insectoid thing.
My tentacles make
Darkspawn
sense now.
Seems to have sprouted a scorpion tail.
What did I say? I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
And even Lento, who again appears to be a relatively young Grey Warden, seems to be taken aback by this. They have not seen you though because of Kenna's shroud. So, what do you guys do or say?
I'm going to cast Life Ward on Lento.
Smart,
He don't
smart,
die in this
smart.
If he does, he
Flailing
comes
uncontrollably, and as it flails, you see in the silhouette, it starts flailing these 8 spider-like legs, like tarantula spider-like legs.
Nice.
It seems to be.
I love our reactions are just like yes, and their reactions just going,
Cedric
oh
will
no.
likely charge at anyone in particular that I
Suffer.
Die.
Is the one to in the horror movies like
Oh, God.
like the
It's like that little girl from The Ring.
right, like the little girl from the Ring. The little girl from the Ring is, or like from The Grudge, is like, you know, running up to him. All right, back to the top with Theobin. I think you have 4 out of 4.
Brody. Is it Brody or?
And I think-
Yeah, no, it's Brody.
I'd like to think
Brody.
Brody's trying to give us spoilers. We just can't understand them.
And then the 6th and 7th archdemons come out of the ground and they attack Orlais.
And make it like shard into the creature.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. You can shape the ice. to
Just
your
suddenly
will,
that ice
and
goes,
all
and
these,
there's
like,
bloody
spikes,
icicles
like,
coming out of the back of its head.
And then,
They're so much
Icicles.
more
with the sheer
efficient.
force of that also causes its head to... But when you enter the chasm, you find it completely empty.
Oh, no.
With no sign of the archdemon,
Oh, no.
except there is this on that spot, about
A
as
new
big as
blight.
a dragon, as big as a high dragon.
Oh no.
But there is no dragon there.
Oh no.
Please tell me that this is just an open chamber and we have to keep going forward to find the actual dragon.
Don't hold your breath, Cedric. I think this is where we were supposed to find
Oh no.
In the dust is written down.
Yeah.
Well,
Aw, yeah.
Do see
we have
like
a new
an
theme for the
exit,
game,
or
I guess.
would've anything big enough for?
Look up.
Does-
Look up.
Connor says,
Look
"Does
up.
this mean
Guys,
that
look up.
We're
where?
at the beginning of a
No, I'm talking to the people
So
in the
soon
game.
after the
Like,
last
look up.
Would have had to have been found by Darkspawn. and tainted.
Wait, Lento hear him calling to him though?
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Lento?
I would hear the
Pretty
calling.
close.
No, no, Lento, the
Oh,
warden.
okay.
Says,
They're having a tea
Is
party,
there
like,
anything in the
hello,
vicinity, or is it
catching
just
up.
a big open room?
Who will
Thank you
now
for
conquer
wait-
the beings, because there are 2 of us.
it's a big oak, if that makes sense.
So
to you.
kind of
Someone
the weight
stole
was
an
lifted off
archdemon.
here, but then it didn't kind of
Still asleep.
venture forward,
So
it
still
just
asleep,
lifted.
but
It just lifted
What?
up into the air.
hold up.
And
What?
You don't feel like
I blame
footsteps
Delwyn.
or anything on the ground.
For no real reason.
You don't feel
Stole
that.
a dragon.
What?
A bard did it, clearly.
he seduced the dragon in his sleep.
I'm gonna like look way up.
Oh,
Yes, look up.
It's not like hanging above us like a bat.
Thank you.
Oh, God.
Thank
Shoot
you.
a fireball up there. or
No,
something.
I'll put.
Someone
Oh,
just
that's
picked up an archdemon.
Is this like disintegration beholder style hole, or is it like
confirms it.
just dug?
We'll be fine every second.
Yeah, but we have to deal with this shit. We're the protagonists. You guys are the mentor
Now that we have
characters. You're doomed to
discovered
die.
that It is very possible, Lento says, that an archdemon.
I knew it was gonna go
has
Star Wars.
awakened. And this is.
Can we make Datham a Grey Warden?
And you can allow us to take over from.
I
No offense
would
or anything,
totally
but
accept.
You've already saved
I mean,
the world once. I've got two
Well, he
kids
technically
to
have
protect.
become
I'm
one
going
because
to
he had to
evolve.
drink warden blood to wait.
yeah,
What
that's
she
the
said.
thing.
I have to be involved. I was on your side, man.
Poor Cedric.
Decide what to do next.
And you reseal the hole. Efficiency.
Years of how to go up.
I could go up.
And I could get the earth to bring us up.
Yes.
Combine earth and air to make a elevation rock.
Because
Yeah.
that hasn't
You are
happened.
in the cavern
Yeah.
beneath Hydern Turning. And if you don't know what that is,
Where's my
Hydern
map?
Turning is a location that in Dragon Age'Quisition you went to in one of the DLCs.
The Descent.
I think it was the Descent
Mhm.
DLC.
Right.
Oh.
The Descent
Orlais?
DLC. So that's where you guys were.
Where was that? Was that in Ferelden or
So
Orlais?
Hydern Turning.
I get the feeling it was in Ferelden, but I might be talking out my arse there.
I think it was in Ferelden.
It started
Someone in
to be
Ferelden's
fresh
fucking
air.
about with dragons. Jeez.
At the end.
And then I think it's just the teaser for season 3.
Where's Russo though?
Guess I'm not important enough.
I find
No,
it
I
odd.
bet you're in because I saw you in the editing thing, so I reckon you're in one of the flashbacks.
Yeah,
The-
you're
the
probably
one
in
that was cut
the
out.
cutout part. Yeah.
Hmm.
Season 3 premieres in 2 weeks.
The hype.
Anything new in the fire?
Nope, same image. It was the teaser at the end of HP.
Okay.
All right.
Have you all had any thoughts about that? Because me and Skull had some thoughts.
Yeah, we had some thoughts.
So I guess the big bad for this campaign will probably be the next Blight. So that's a fun one.
Someone levitated a dragon.
Yeah.
Who did this?
Someone must have pulled that dragon up, or the dragon woke up by itself.
Maybe the dragon's made out of helium. You never know.
I mean, that goes back to the original banner with like the spirit dragon in the sky. It never was physical to begin with.
But then there's also the question of that was only one of the 2 old gods that like supposedly they know the location of. So we don't know like if in the session they went to the other old god and what happened there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it out there. We already disturbed one old god. Let's not disturb another.
It's a little late for that.
Well, I feel like they weren't the ones who disturbed it, so they would probably want to check even more just to make sure like what happened. So I feel like that's one of the cut parts, maybe.
Who knows? Only Harken players who played in the session only know the answer, and we don't.
The whole time when you were explaining Hormac to Sam, I was just like enhanced on Hark's face and just staring, just like, what reaction can I get?
Well, because it sounds a lot like what the session is, with the centipede and then the things.
Yeah.
The weird
Did he
thing,
mention
though,
Hormac explicitly, or was it just implied?
No.
Mention the name. It was just when he started talking about Darkspawn with insect stuff, I was like, we're in Hormac.
Yeah.
I know this place. Tonight.
But
I remember.
Yeah. But the one thing to also know, like, we had a dragon appear, the dragon kind of flying in the air and breathing the fires and most of the audition stuff, like the announcements he did.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the recording, so there could be possibility that the dragon might be awakened. Who knows? And not like a dark spawn turned archdemon, whatever it is.
So I wish I wish they would have asked the Grey Warden with them. Hey, do you feel the archdemon? Can you detect
right? Right? So I feel like if they would have asked that, Hark would have cut that just to like fuck us over.
But the possibility, but probably the players might not know that information, probably because it's maybe not common knowledge. but we might be wrong. I might be totally wrong about this.
What were you going to say, Sam? Sorry.
Oh, we may have to find the one dragon lady who turned into a dragon and his daughter is Flemeth, and then be like,
Flemeth?
yo,
Flemeth hasn't been no, wait. Flemeth was mentioned because she was in the she was the time traveler in season 1.
Season 1.
Oh,
so in the Fade in season 1.
Well, yeah, that's
and she hasn't been seen yet in a while. I think. Has she been seen in season 2? I do not remember. I have not seen much of season 2, so
And that wasn't Morgan. That was Flemeth and Morgan's body, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, that was Flemeth doing her ritual of I'm gonna go to my next child and set myself inside.
Oh.
So so there was that.
Fun.
So we have Penta'Viv Guardian.
Yeah, there's a new Penta'Viv
Guardian. New Penta'Viv Guardian of Fire.
So that baby, if they're not careful about it, will probably be easily controlled by someone with a strong will.
But can a child even have? I doubt. Well, it's been like what, 6 years? 940.
6 years. Yeah, 6 years.
So the baby should be about 6-ish years old. I doubt.
When did the original Guardians start manifesting their powers? Do we remember anything? Or was it like adulthood?
I think they just magically showed up in the place, and it was like, look at these powers I have.
they got thrown into the breach, and they started.
The Deus Ex Machina. You're all here now.
They all were born with the mark, so they all had the birthmarks, and they always thought of it as a birthmark, but they didn't actually like manifest their powers until they actually put the bracers on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a bracer interaction for it to start.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
because the bracer is the catalyst.
Yeah. So it's not like the mage, like, oh shit, I burned my house down. Kind of thing.
That technically that's not how that works.
Unless the kid is a mage. Whoa, what if you had like a pyromancer mage on top of the Guardian of Fire?
Double fire power.
Too much fire.
Too much fire, burn the whole thing.
Like cast a fireball and then enhance it to be like an inferno.
Oh god.
Why fight fire with fire when you can fight fire with more fire?
Yeah, there you go.
So that was another main theme that might come up, unless it might not.
Oh, also the son, Nathan, right?
Yeah, it got mentioned a bit.
Yeah. So Nathan knows some of this information, and I think he's going to play a larger part in this part, especially because the passing on of the crown and the king's way too busy with being a king to do anything,
and making important deals with Kunari. But another main theme that was touched on was Navarra, specifically with apparent high priests getting more MK'd quite hard. Lines moved.
I also like how Hark sort of tied our stories into the main cast stories. It was really well done.
Yeah, definitely.
Except for one person, unfortunately.
Well, but we mentioned that might have been in the cut parts because I think someone saw Russo. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There were what you saw were, like I said, edited versions because I had to pull out some pretty major spoilers. And the unfortunate thing is, I was trying to make each individual character's scene equally long. So you might be like, well, Kimberly's scene was really short.
Right.
I was like, yeah, that's because I actually only showed 20% of her scene. So like there's also a lot from Theoben that I had to cut as well.
Oh.
So I think you only saw
Did they go Daretham hunting? Did they actually go Daretham hunting?
You'll find out when that becomes as things become relevant. And I think just to be mean.
Oh god, no, don't do this. No.
If it becomes relevant, I probably won't like mention it while we're playing the session. I'll probably just drop the scenes in when I finally release them, like live on the premieres.
Oh.
Yes, you're gonna have to watch the premieres after all, Dominic.
You'll have to watch the premieres, I guess.
I have no time.
You have the time.
That'd be pretty cool because then you can see, how the main cast interacts and how the old cast sort of.
Oh, we just get flashbacks. Feels very like
you'll get flashbacks.
Oh.
It'll make the world feel more like alive and lived in. Ooh,
Okay, you know what? One of my questions was actually to Hark, like how roughly how much like of a part of content do you think you cut, like 1 or 2 parts, and then also when it would be released? But I know the second question, so like, how would you say?
You mean overall or for specific scenes?
No, just like overall, like because you have your parts and they're about an hour. Would you say like there's 1.5, 2? I don't want to know specifics. Just like how much do you think you cut?
What ended up being released was like 4 hours of content.
Yeah, it was 4 hours.
I think what I ended up cutting was approximately, I want to say approximately 30 to 40 minutes. I want to say 30 to 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes of content, and probably divided up into 4 different scenes. Like there are a lot of things that were completely intact. So for example, everything with Lealton and Cedric going down into the necropolis, I'm pretty sure that was all uncut. I think everything. Yeah, I don't want to give away too much. But I will say that one was completely uncut.
Scene, though, that one solo. It was a
that was a really cool scene.
Yeah.
And then I imagine a lot of like character stuff, like when we had all the talks between Theoben and Hugh and Cedric, those are all pretty uncut too.
Those are pretty uncut as well. I did not plan at all the whole scene with Cedric and Hugh and Theoben on the whole the cure for tranquility. That was something that Kevin completely felt that Cedric would have like tried to start moving towards when he became Night Vigilant. And
it's a really intriguing question. Yeah,
it is an intriguing question. Who knows? Maybe you guys will run into that issue somewhere down the line. Who knows?
His stance on blood magic is no fun.
Yeah.
Would there be anything curtailing that opinion?
Well, I feel like it's Cedric and blood magic is like Maximilian and Darethum on Darkspawn. We're pretty hard ass.
Yeah, Maximilian does not like Darkspawn, and I love how Leon's cameo happened the scene just before like Cedric was like, oh, blood magic is there's nothing, you have to die. Like blood mages, you all have to die.
He just shows up, tries to be very nice to Cedric.
Oh no, time to go incognito.
Let me hide this particular thing.
I really want Leon to literally just have his finger on his.
Hello, my name is Burt Reynolds. How are you doing today?
My name is Shion.
My name is Shion. I am the mustache lady. How do you do?
Yes.
I am not suspicious at all.
We're gonna be doing so much hiding. We're gonna have to go around telling everyone that Darethum's like a burn victim.
That's why
whenever we go around to Vinter, Skull's just gonna have to have like robes on over everything.
Yeah, I specifically put an extra point of communication and took a focus in deception when I leveled up, just to ensure like I'd be good at that.
Gosh, yeah, it's too bad we only have one rogue.
It's like only three player. There's the one rogue and 2 mages have to hide in certain areas, and then the 2 warriors are just like, what are you guys doing? Like,
we don't stealth, we stride.
It's like we got the mages who are going back here, and then the rogue going here, and then we just got like Pasha going, listen to me, and Russo with his giant hammer.
The best stealth missions always have a giant distraction, and we've got She Who Speaks and the lawyer who can just filibuster his way through.
Oh, how politician-y of me!
Gonna bring out the hammer of politics? No. Change that a bit?
Yeah, that's gonna be like the in-game name for it. It's gonna be like strung across the side and like wrapped around it for extra character.
Like elven runes on the side.
Yeah.
I loved the scene where Connor proposed to Kenna.
Wow.
Is it Kenna?
So perfect.
Oh my god.
Beautiful.
She was. I love how Sam played it so that Kenna was completely oblivious. Like she had no. As soon as Connor kneeled down, she was like, "Are you okay?" And then even afterwards, she was like, "Oh, that's what this is."
Yeah, I love how
Oh.
she played up that cultural difference of just like, I was expecting you to like kidnap me and then like throw you over my shoulder.
Like hit me over the head and kidnap me and sneak. Yeah, I was like, oh, darn it, I did this all wrong.
And like that moment, Connor just went in his mind, oh shit.
Just like shuts the box.
Takes it away. We will never see each other again.
I love you, but I love you not enough to kidnap you.
I'm just waiting for the scene later on where he's like, she's expecting me to kidnap her, and then he tries to kidnap her, but it's just going to go so horribly botched.
It makes sense. I mean, he's a half Ferelden adopted Orlesian. Or adopted Ferelden Elysian, technically, so you can't really kidnap. The only way you can do is coerce.
Who was like possessed by a demon and then had his entire family killed in front of him. That was technically his fault, and then
and then had the guy who saved him die in front of him, then come back as like another person and interact with him.
Just things that happen to everyone.
Totally mentally stable kid right there.
Just a normal Tuesday in Thetis.
Hey, it's always normal Tuesday like that in Thetis. It's just how it is.
I just like to imagine that, like, when he finally does kidnap her, he just like kicks open the door. Then Gwinnell's like, "Oh God."
I loved the scene with Hugh just talking about love, especially like when he's after like got quote unquote parts of his tranquility was removed.
Yeah.
And just going like, and then of course now we have the whole theory of Callisto trying to like shag on Raziel.
No, Pasha's new mission in life is she's going to hook up Kine and Raziel and Hugh and who else is single? Just like all of them together living in Orzammar. Happy as Larry.
When I first created Hugh for season 2, I was actually like hoping that maybe one of the characters would try to romance him or like get into a relationship where you could romance him. I should start off by saying I had zero intention nor expectation that Cedric was going to end up being like the closest like romancy character with Hugh. I thought it was going to be like one of the girls actually, but it was Cedric who sort of like latched onto him, and I think which I love because I love the relationship, but I think because of that he kind of hogged Hugh all to himself. So Hugh never actually ended up with a romance, because I thought it'd be a really fascinating story to see if Hugh manages to be capable of love, because as a Tranquil he wasn't capable of really loving someone in that way, and now he's sort of half Tranquil and half not, and because of that he's seeing all of his friends, getting married and having kids and having a family, and he's wondering, did I miss something in life, or am I completely content? Because I think he's can represent like a type of character who maybe they don't need to end up with somebody at the end to be happy. Like a lot of people, for example, the whole Frozen thing where Elsa never gets like nothing to say about her sexuality, but she never ends up with anyone at the very end. And I'm like, well, maybe that's not necessarily a terrible thing. Like some people can be perfectly happy without like finding a relationship in that way. They can find other ways to be happy. But maybe for Hugh, who knows? Who knows whether he ultimately that's for him or not. So
actually that kind of same question is what I'm curious about Daretham, because he already has had that relationship, and he already kind of has had a sort of parental relationship with his sister, in like very loose way. So he's kind of had that. I'm curious if, especially with his current situation, if anyone would go for him, because he certainly wouldn't go for them. He's not going to be initiating anything unless someone else pushes him. And then also if he can feel he's redeemed enough to just live with his friends. It's another question just like that. I'm really curious to see what happens with.
Yeah, because part of his story is, the self-hate. So is he going to live with himself in the end?
Yeah.
He's gonna continue self-hating himself to the point where he's just gonna be alone, so he doesn't want to put any hate on anyone else. That's good.
He can't love other people until he loves himself.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Love yourselves and love each other, everybody.
Quote.
Also, just for the Cedric joke, like just like with protecting you, this is like Cedric right now, like doing good with you. No one touched you. No one. Not you. No one even.
Yeah.
If anyone touches him, I will smite thee with judgment from my helmet.
My thought was.
Kevin, if you're watching this, very sorry.
I think Kevin would be complimented by that. Like he's a smiting kind of person.
Yeah, he's gonna smite anyone, even though he probably should also smite you because of Hugh's. Anyway,
my thought was actually Hugh bringing someone like they stood outside the front door and they say, "Listen, I'm about to introduce you to my family, but like." They seem scary, and then the door just kicks open, and Cedric just smacking his door. Oh, you think? Of you.
You want to be with
Cedric.
you, huh?
Then we have Cedric acting like a dad the whole time.
With a shotgun.
Even though he was way older than him.
There's like a 20-year difference or something, but Cedric's like, I'm the dad here.
I enjoy like this whole dating simulation type of duo.
It's a feature of Hearts games. There has to be dating.
There has to be dating.
Romance, I think, adds a lot. Like I said, it's totally optional, just like in the video games. But if you do invest in them, you get pretty cool scenes, like the proposal with Kenna and Connor. So
yeah, I mean, not every character needs to be romanced. Even in like some very well-known pop cultures, not every character is romance.
Right.
So.
And even speaking of Hugh, like he never became a romanced person, but he ended up having a really cool scenes with specific characters because of how deep their friendship was.
Yeah.
So
even though he's an artist, which technically makes him romantic already as that. Poor Hugh.
Never had French paint me like one of your French girls scenes.
Paint me like one of your Orlesian girls.
Yeah, that was a really, really fun. All the parts were so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I'd like to see how people have grown up, and then like they're the capstone of their sort of adventure, because they've got roots, they've got family. Yes, they can still go adventuring, but it's a little harder for them because they're older and they have their own responsibilities, and it's just not feasible for them to save the world every day now.
Yeah, they have to step aside and let new people come in and F things up for them instead.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge.
Oh no! What possible 5 people could come and save?
Yeah, I have no idea.
From what terrors from the night?
Yeah. Though I do especially love the relationship between Andrea and Cedric and their kids and the going on the ship every year. That was I love that.
I wanted there to be more Cedric and Andrea scenes. We just didn't have. There was only so much time because we actually recorded for like 7 hours.
Wow.
And yeah, but we had to do I had to edit a lot of things, like I said. So we just couldn't fit everything. I wanted to do this whole sequence where we actually played out Kenna's wedding. That was one thing that I thought would be super fun, is just play out, just, nothing bad happens. It's just everybody's at a party and they're socializing and shenanigans that ensue, but we never had that chance. So
see Connor like freak out going,
Yes.
Nothing bad happens.
Nothing bad happens.
That's like prime Hark evil laugh.
Hark's planning his misogynist.
I have a question. Of the people who came, of the season 1 and season 2 characters that came back, which character would you be most interested in having your character interact with, and why? What do you think would make the most interesting scene for them to interact with?
Can I cop out and say 2?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
I have 2 that I feel like would be great to see Russo interact with him particularly. The first one was Lucky Jack's character, Lealden. I feel like that's a very obvious connection between the two. And one other thing that I thought would be cool would be like essentially Russo was like 10 while they were doing all of their adventures around Thetis and the Blight. So he probably would have seen like Liam and Lealden having that conversation, or might have had like memories about like what happened in the alienage when they were talking about things like that. Then the other one would be Theoben, simply because you have that dual single father thing. And Theoben's been dealing with it with a lot longer, and Russo's figuring out his footing with that.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. PCs or NPCs? Or both?
I guess at this point, either. At this point, either.
I mean, initially, my thought was initially kind of the obvious of Maximilian and Cedric.
Maximilian.
Just because I love the players, and I also love how devoted those characters are, and that's very similar to Daretham. However, I feel like I don't know how they would go, but I have an expectation. Like I feel like it's a little more understanding what'll happen there. I actually really want to interact with, now that you said it, Tommy, Theoben.
Yeah.
Because he also had lovers who died before him. He also has a deep connection to the Darkspawn. He has a daughter who is very similar into the relationship between Daretham and Cerys. That's the only difference is that Cerys actually remembers murdering his little sister. So I feel like out of all the characters, at least of the previous PCs, Theoben could probably empathize with Daretham the most, and maybe make him rethink some of his philosophy the most out of everyone.
Yeah.
And he's also the one who I'd say is the most like sympathetic to Daretham, considering he's already the ambassador.
Hashtag Darethoben. Darethoben. Oh no, Darethoben.
More ships. Okay, ship it.
More ships. Darethoben.
Gosh,
make it happen, Hannah. Make it happen. You know.
Bring out your ships.
I mean, I don't want to encourage, but he is already fascinated with poison, so.
Yeah, that's true. You know, that can get a little kinky.
I think maybe if you two come to agreement, like, hey, like, stop killing the Darkspawn, I'll give you like poison claws.
But yeah, that would be the character I think would be the most intriguing to see Daretham interact with.
I'm going to have to cop out also a little with Tommy, because there's two. Because there's two I really think in terms of Tyrion. First one would probably definitely be Andre, so like the winter connection that's been going on, and especially the connection with Bostwick that was there, kind of beginning. It would be interesting. I don't know if we ever would establish like maybe Tyrion if he heard of Andrea, but it would be interesting to see, you know, like what's the difference, like, you know, of Andrea's living where she was like a gladiator who, you know, had fame, quote unquote, let's say that,
and she remembers Tyrion, so if you interact, she might like
and then Tyrion. Yep.
I would think that Tyrion, because you're into Winter, I think Bostwick's arena was very well known, and and again, Andrea had a lot of fans, so I'm sure you would have heard of her, even if you were a slave, you would have heard.
It would be like a very different, like, you know, kind of perspective. It's like she's like, oh, she's a famous gladiator who probably lives fine-ish, and then you see Tyrion like just, you know, a low, like a rare slave who just barely has anything to kind of live by anyway, and not being treated well. So we kind of have the maybe difference. But I also would like to have a conversation with Cedric. As like, I want to have the conversation about, because as much I want with Tyrion, one of the main kind of drives I have with him is the idea of oppression, how much he hates it, and they would the idea how he see if he would see like a mages how they're treated in Circle Magi, he would be like, no man, like this is not right. This is not freedom. This is not how it's supposed to be. Why do you keep these people inside here? What's the point of it? So I would like to see, specifically with the Knight Vigilant, who kind of commands most of the Templars and most of the circles, I would want to have an interesting conversation with that, see how that goes. Just with that, and also the conversation probably with the Tranquility stuff. So I would like to see that interaction go out. So yeah, that's for me. But that's for Tyrion, for both Andrea and Cedric. So the Ashwood couple.
at least for me, it's sort of the logical option. But Cedric would be probably the biggest antagonist because he's both the Night Vigilant and fiercely against blood. So the two things that Leon just it's the main part of him. Just taking the circle and liking blood magic. It's and then it'd be interesting to see if Leon starts going back to the circle to try to throw them off the trail of this blood mage sort of sneaking around. So it could be an interesting espionage type mission.
So obviously in the reunion session, it was established that Leon has met Cedric, at least in passing, and knows of him. I mean, he is. You're in Orlais. You're in the Orlesian circle, and he is a very important person. So I'm sure you're very familiar with him. He might not be very familiar with you. This is not really spoilery. This is something that I sort of added in your backstory, and I don't know if I had a chance to mention it in any of your sessions so far. But Nazim actually is like one of Cedric's pupils, and so a lot of the way that Nazim works and behaves as a Templar, and the way that she carries herself and makes decisions as a Templar, were influenced by Cedric.
Oh.
So when the people who are watching sees Nazim in a few scenes that we've already actually done, that's the reason why she behaves the way she does in those scenes, is because of Cedric.
Yeah, you did mention in part, I think it was in part 3 where she appeared with Leon, that she is a pupil of Cedric, something like that. So you did mention it.
I would like to see later as we get more and Leon gets more blood magic-y, how Nazim would react. Yeah, that'll be
exactly. Yes.
For Pasha, this is probably really obvious, but I'd like to see how she interacts with Andrea. Like, if they didn't know who each other were, if Pasha didn't know that this was the Andrea who was keeping water from her people, and if Andrea didn't know that this is a Tamazran who is propagating the Qun and indoctrinating all these little kids, I think they'd actually get on really well, because I feel like they have very similar motherly personality. As soon as they found out, it'd be like, we have to kill each other now.
Yes.
I really want to be curious to see how they see each other, because Andrea, I imagine, has this whole Qun is monstrous perception, while Pasha has Andrea is monstrous, but you're both mothers and actually both mothers. So seeing that one commonality maybe before you know about each other, I think that would be really cool.
Let's have a good conversation until we throw fists at each other.
Man, that one question, Hark, you've gotten me thinking about all the heartbreaking scenes you're going to make us go through. And...
I want to ask a follow-up question for Dominic, and I don't think this would be spoilery. What do you foresee is Darethim's attitude towards the Black Queen, Razakael?
I don't know. I mean, for obvious reasons, he hates the architect. He really thinks that the architect screwed up and should not have done what he did. But it's kind of the opinion of, right now he doesn't really have one. I don't think. He just sees all of the Awakened as wrong. So right now I imagine he's basically just thrown them out of his mind. He's compartmentalized them, locked them away deep in his thoughts, and then he's just focusing on what he does feel is the greater threat, which is the mindless Darkspawn and the Archdemons. Once that's done with, though, assuming it is ever done with, I feel like he would sympathize with Razakael, but unless something changes with him, I don't think he would necessarily let that stop him.
I see the two of you as sort of two sides of the same coin, because You are a Darkspawn who is about to join this party of surfacers who has the mindset that all the Darkspawn are monsters. You have this awareness that you're all monsters and all yada yada yada.
Right.
Whereas Razakael, when you meet her in season 2, she was a lot more naive. And, you know, when she first met Kenna, she was not like, she didn't think much of it. She didn't think that Kenna would just like see her as a monster. She just saw herself as just herself,
yeah,
and didn't have that negative connotation. And so
Razakael like grew up not knowing
that she was a monster.
That she was a monster, right, which allowed her to see herself and her people as people. Right. Whereas Daretham, probably just because of his memories. If he didn't have his memories, he'd probably just be like any other Awakened. But because he has his memories, he knows this is not good. This is very not good. And so he doesn't right now see them as redeemable. I would honestly love to have a conversation between those two. Like, that's the one NPC. Because the Architect or the Black King, I think they would just be like, I hate you. Cool. But with Razakael, I think he would give her the benefit of the doubt and be like, okay, I see your point. We're still WMDs, but
the biggest difference between Razakael and the Architect and the Black King is that she's actually spent a huge chunk of her time on the surface.
Yeah,
she's met people on the surface. You know, she's learned like their customs and things like that, and how they tick, and got, you know, so she's got a lot of street smarts, I guess, from what is the best way to put it, whereas the other two don't. And so I think you're right, that probably gives her more wisdom and insight.
Yeah, like in many ways Daretham is like following in her footsteps, and just doing what she did all those years ago. I'm just curious, because he already has a perception. It's a very skewed perception, but because he already has that perception, how will it change? And if he does go back, and we're probably going to go back because it's hard.
Probably.
But, like the conversation with Theoben, I think, could allow him to start to forgive himself a little bit, if like it's properly said and everything. But I feel like Razakael could be the person, or at least one of the people, to actually make him fully reconsider and go, you know what, you have a point, and I'll think about this. Theoben, I feel, could just let him be more calm and more serene, but hate himself less. But Razakael could actually make him start to not hate the Awakened. So yeah.
Until he finds that pad, we'll just have to repose the same like joke that's going on, where once he realizes the Awakened Darkspawn, and he just hears they want to go to the surface and be with the other people, he's just gonna go, this is not fine, this is not fine. this is
the only thing that is in his mind is that, like, it's kind of that problem of, I know, like, objectively right now he still hates the Awakened, but he knows that they can be better. Right now it's just the question of how much is that potential to live and be in a society overshadowed by the fact that we are, every second of every day, have the potential to cause what's happening in our world right now, but on an even worse scale. So it's kind of that thing where he's like, I know what the problem is, and this will always be there. It will never go away unless we find a cure for the blight.
I believe you've hit the wall of answers, Dominic.
Okay.
Please let me through. Answer wall.
I tried to leave it very vague. Do you guys think this is a blight that the ending of the reunion is implying, or do you think this is something completely different?
I don't think it's a blight. It doesn't feel. Feel like a blight.
I really wish that the team had asked this, or if they did ask it, it got cut out. But they didn't ask the warden, "Hey, do you feel an archdemon?" Because that would have answered so many questions. And obviously, if it was asked, I'm not gonna know. But great.
And they didn't even ask, like, are there any tracks like leading up? Because I don't think there was. It was just the one point.
It was one circle where the dust had been moved, and
it would have been impossible for Darkspawn unless they flew like with the Bat Darkspawn. But even then, you would have seen disturbance or like the wings creating the wind. So
yeah.
So when Theoben used his powers to commune with the earth. I did not cut anything from that. So that means that he did not sense any other presences in that chamber other than the one that was already there. So interpret that how you will.
I like the idea of the dragons just like, oh man, did I sleep for that long? Oh man, I'm late.
He's off at a business meeting somewhere,
he's late for a very important date. We cross over to Alice in Wonderland. Actually, it's not even Harry Potter.
No, he's gonna awaken the other old god, and they're just gonna go make a date with the maker.
Yeah.
Speaking of the other old god, if Hark is like devious enough and wants to have his cake and eat it too, one old god is not corrupted. The other one becomes the sixth blight.
Ooh.
Like, and then we could have like old god versus art. Oh.
Ooh. And the one and only Godzilla battle of Dragon.
It's like the end of Inquisition, but better. And we like ride on the backs of old gods, and we're like, ah.
Yeah, like Power Rangers.
That's who we really are. That's what all the other signs.
Darathan becomes re-blighted, and then he rides the blighted old god, and then we have to fight him.
Oh no!
Like,
Darathan's the Green Ranger. He's always going to be the Green Ranger.
You know what happens if Darathan gets on the old dragon? He taints that dragon technically.
Oh.
He's gonna get tainted.
That was though such a fun one shot to watch. Yeah. Like just in terms of seeing everyone back together, and then also obviously all of us going.
Yeah, another cool scene I think we could also mention, also that brought in a cool zoom in was with Maximilian and Jody.
Yeah.
They were having their conversation about like how the rule and stuff like that. And I do remember there's like this one scene where he just goes like this, at the camera zooms him and on him.
Like, he's doing the Lion King hold.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. I would honestly love to see Queen Jody. I think that would be so dope.
Ooh. Yes. Ooh, King. Oh, Maximilian gets kidnapped, and he's just like stuck somewhere, and Jody has to take over for a bit until like we have to free him.
Yeah. Or even then, just like seeing her elected, just like Maximilian's done, and then maybe that time of turmoil is like, you know what, Queen Jody.
That's true. Yeah, I'd vote for Michelle Obama. I mean, that's me personally. But...
Wow.
I've got one semi-serious question, and I'm going to keep it very vague, simply because if I go too detailed, this might hit spoiler territory and no one else has seen anything yet. But did Kenna having that specific vision correlate to her being the ether guardian to the other scene with Maximilian and Jody afterwards? Or was that just any guardian could have gotten it?
You're asking why Ken in particular had that dream and nobody else?
Yeah.
So Kenna was always the heart of that group. Okay. That's where her mark is. She, as a person who is a Varian and the source of the Penta'Viv magic, is essentially a Varian.
Okay.
So she always had sort of like the closest tie to that magic. She essentially, if you guys ever heard of Captain Planet and the Planeteers, she's Mati. She's Mati. So I thought that if anyone was going to have that dream, I thought it would be most appropriate for her.
Okay.
To be the one who could sense who the guardian of fire was.
It's going to be an interesting season, no matter what happens.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Did you have a thing that you wanted to say, Callista?
Oh, I was just going to say, I've immediately forgotten. It's not Violetta, it's Antonia, the new Queen of Navarra.
Oh, her, yes. She creeps me out.
I finally remembered which Tavinta Nights story she's come from, and I'm like, she was good in that.
So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to you guys meeting her.
Is she a murder, stab, or is she like a plot?
Listen, she's a politician. They're all murder, stab. But, but I definitely do. I love her theme. I adore that her theme And I absolutely love that. It was kind of like with Darthan, where I picked like a very sad but also sort of hopeful but not seen theme, where with her it's sinister but not. Like,
yeah,
I'm really curious to see where she ends up.
I purposely was trying to portray her in a way that she's not like you're not really sure what to think of her. Like, is she evil? Is she good? Is she neutral? Right now, I was going for neutral.
Yeah.
For
I definitely have that like alignment unknown on like it's hard to read her. So yeah.
I basically called her, Death Queen, and death is not inherently evil.
Right.
Death is just it's neutral. Yeah. And so I sort of just nicked with my notes. I just nicked when I was trying to give myself how do I portray her when I'm acting as her. I just put Death Queen, and that's sort of what I went with. And whenever you're in her presence, that's why everything around her just feels so cold. And she has these really interesting attendants who kind of give you the heebie-jeebies when they're around. So
I smell dirt on them. Is that Tombstone?
Huh. So tinfoil hat time.
Yeah.
So I know you previously said that you really like the the death mage thing.
Mortalitasi?
Yeah,
Mortalitasi.
Yes. Yeah. Necromancers and all that, yeah.
So tinfoil hat, maybe she's a super powerful Mortalitasi who just keeps all her attendants because the only one she can trust is someone who can't talk, all the dead, because the dead don't talk.
I'm looking at Callista when you ask that question because I know Callista has read Tevinter Nights. So
it's
maybe if anyone has read that book, I'm not going to say anything else.
I really want to read it because I know you literally went. I know in the Tabletop Public or like somewhere you literally said, "Time to do my research for the game. Put them in front of it," and you literally did.
There's a lot. I took a lot from that book in season 3, mostly because in my original plan years back, I was hoping that Dragon Age 4, the game, Dragon Age 4 would have dropped and I could have pulled some stuff from there. But since it hasn't yet, I was like, all right, this book is supposedly supposed to kick off the game's Dragon Age 4. That's probably the best thing for me to do that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Origins I kind of drew from Dragon Age 1 and 2, and then Dragon Age Season 2, I sort of pulled a lot of things from Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that we're getting stuff from Tevinter Nights. I loved that book.
Yeah.
I need to read the book. I really need to.
I've got on the way. I just prioritized rereading Heart of Darkness again first because that was a giant inspiration for a lot of what I put into Russo. So after I finish that, then I'm gonna read it.
Kind of.
Well, I was going to say, the nice thing about Tevinter Nights is it's a anthology of short stories. It's not one big, long story.
Yeah, it's like Witcher, Last Wish, and Sword of Destiny.
Yeah, Sword of Destiny. There's just a bunch of short stories in one book. So
yeah, so each short story is approximately 30 pages long, which can probably take you about 45 minutes. It took me like 45 minutes to read each one. So
I read pretty quick, so I can probably get the whole book done in like a day or like.
but it's kind of cool, kind of beginning because a lot of stuff you did where you pull a lot of lore, like existing stuff from the previous for season 1 and season 2 at least. I know from season 1, I only watched season 1 and a bit of season 2, but in season 1 you pull lots from Origins, so it's like, what's going to be season 3? I thought you were going to pull off from Inquisition, but it's also cool that you're going to pull from a different story that just has anthology stories, not like a.
Well, a lot of season 2 was like the Breach and things, and there was mentions with Corypheus and Solas and all that. So
sometimes I lucked out, and I actually predicted unintentionally a lot of things for Dragon Age Inquisition before Dragon Age Inquisition was released, because Dragon Age Season 1 was all about time travel, and so when I started playing Inquisition during my Let's Play, I was doing the quest with Dorian and what's his name? No, Dorian. Well, it was Dorian and his master, or his superior.
Yeah, Magister.
What's his face?
It starts with an A.
Alexius.
Alexius, and how Alexius discovered a way to travel through time with magic, and I'm like, we did that already. That's old news. We did that in season 1. I'm so happy that's canon. And I immediately
hire me. This is what I was thinking.
Right. I immediately like messaged the people in season 1, like David, for example. I messaged them and I was like, "How far are you in Inquisition? Like, this is so dope. Like, season 1 stuff is in Inquisition. Like, this is amazing." So.
But that's the beautiful thing about like Dragon Age, at least, is like whatever, like you can change the lore of what happened in the games, like to just fit whatever narrative you want for your own. So that's a cool part about Dragon Age, at least, and no one will have no problems with that. So, except for the hardcore fans, of course. But yeah, what can we do?
Like the two people who go, "This isn't accurate to the canon, and I hate it." And we're just like, okay. So
I'm sorry, airships are cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, airships are cool.
Welcome to Tabletop, bro, where everything changes.
Yeah. Tabletop, where the game changes.
You think you change the game? The game changes you.
It's the old EA It's the old like EA like startup like change the game whatever it was again. Just for that.
Though I will say, now that we have both Ferelden with airships and Gatlock, and the Kunari with airships and Gatlock, I totally want to see like a Three Musketeers skyship battle with cannons firing. I want to see that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't like tried to advance their territory and conquer other folk, because they have a huge military advantage. And if they make
Shut up. Wait, Sam, shut up, don't give ideas.
Oh no, because if they combine their alliance even better, war is one of the best ways to combine alliances. And if you have like a blood tie or some sort of way to bind the two nations together, they could mesh into just one bigger nation. But
I agree completely with you, Sam.
Nathan